My pleasure to introduce our speaker today. I'm Krishna Vedula with Indo-Universal Collaboration for Engineering Education and work closely with IFEES and GEDC, Hans Feuer, and we have this global webinar series on a regular basis. And so today I'm based in Hyderabad, India. Today we have the pleasure to have Dr. Amarda Sehu, who is a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Associate Dean for Research in the College of Engineering and Computing at George Mason University, where she is also the Vice President and Chief AI Officer. Wow, okay. That's the new designation I think most institutes now have. Great. Amarda is an IEEE senior member, fellow of the American Institute of Medical and Biological Engineering, and a member of Virginia Academy of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. Her research bridges foundational AI and AI-enabled scientific discovery. Amarda served as the 2019-2022 NSF Program Director on Information Intelligence Systems Division of the Directorate of Computer Information Science and Engineering at George Mason. She has led several transdisciplinary centers of excellence, Institute of Digital Innovation in her previous role as Associate Vice President for Research. So we're delighted, just so happy to have you take the time to join us. Amarda, please everybody welcome her on, and you can start the presentation, Amarda. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all, and good morning from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. Thank you, Hans, for the invitation. I thought that rather than giving an overview of AI research from my own perspective and what I do in the lab, and it's been a very busy summer. My lab we got out our third PhD graduate in June, so it's been quite hectic, but I thought that it would be best to maybe give you folks a sense of what's happening at George Mason University. So what we started to do in 2024, when the president approached me and asked me if I wanted to be chief AI officer, to which first I said, no, I don't want to be an officer. But he said, you'll be a VP too. So I said, okay, was to really think through the role and the mission of a public university in this very fast moving AI space. So the very first vision that I built, and then going from that to strategy and implementation, and I'll share some of that implementation with you today, was to reimagine a public university as a nexus for AI innovation. So a nexus really hints at connecting colleges, connecting students, connecting faculty, connecting stakeholders inside the university with one another, connecting the university with the community, and all to advance AI innovation. So we are reimagining George Mason as an AI innovation nexus, but by thinking through what this would mean. What would it be for us to be pioneers to advance artificial intelligence research and education and all aspects of it in Virginia? And we found that we were also quite alone in some sense in the nation, because there was no university that had that had thought through very methodically and comprehensively what should a public university do, or in general any university, including private universities, do given the rapid rise of this technology. So the vision that we have stands on 4 cross-cutting or interleaved initiatives, very specific, distinct initiatives, each one with their own sort of implementation strategy. And I'm going to give you a glimpse today into what they mean and how we're going about them. But at first, I'm going to sort of state them up front. They all start with I. This is, somebody told me, I wasn't aware of this, maybe subconsciously I have done that, but somebody told me that this continues in some old Baptist tradition here in the US, where everything you say, a big message, starts with the same letter. So our first initiative is Integrate AI, and it hints at the need that we have to really transform everything that we do, all our operations at the university, through the new AI tools and AI agents that are coming out there. The second one, Inspire with AI, speaks to our mission as an institute of higher education, our core mission of advancing higher education. So our core mission of providing curricula of relevance to our students and preparing them for the workforce. Our third initiative, Innovate AI, speaks to our mission as a research-intensive university. George Mason University is R1 in the Carnegie ranking, and what this comes with great responsibility. And what this means is that we see ourselves as innovators, and we want to not just integrate AI tools and not just teach students about them, but we really want to develop new AI technology. So we want to lead in the AI innovation space and do that responsibly. And our fourth initiative, Impact with AI, speaks to our view of ourselves as a nexus, as a connector. Everything that we want to do here at the university, some of it is very much curiosity driven, but a lot is so we can drive societal change, so we can support our communities around us, so we can support industries around us, government agencies, and so on. So everybody outside the doors of the university. Now, everything that I'm telling you today was not just the product of my brain. It was designed, formulated with what I call alignment in mind. So we are a very large public university. We're close to 50,000 members. It's a small town. I grew up in a small town of around 50,000 people. We have about a little bit more than 40,000 students. And then if you also consider the faculty and the staff across the 10 colleges or schools that we have here, we approach 50,000. We're around 50,000 members. And so we wanted to make sure that whatever vision and strategy and implementation we were embarking on, we wanted to do it via shared governance. We wanted to hear from the very beginning how our members felt, how our sort of core stakeholders felt. So in fall 2024, I launched the AI Visioning Task Force that I lead, and we have regular meetings. This consists of, it grew to be very large very quickly because everybody on campus was very excited about our mission and wanted to be a part of it. So it ended up having over 70 members. These members are faculty, are students and staff, and the task force has representation from all the 10 colleges, all the 10 academic units and non-academic units. And if you're wondering what's a non-academic unit, well, think of libraries. Think of, for instance, our Stern Center for Education and Learning. We have a lot of these non-academic units that support core functions of the university. And so this task force has worked on very specific items, very specific things to instantiate the overall vision and each of the specific 4 initiatives that I laid out very briefly for you today. I want to tell you now a little bit more about the initiatives so you have a better sense. I want to substantiate them in the next few minutes. So I'll start with the very first one because this was a heavy lift for us, Integrate AI. What we imagined was a way to give to all our members, so our students, our faculty and staff, to put in their hands capabilities equivalent to, ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or Amazon Bedrock, all the generative AI platforms out there. But we wanted to do it for less cost, so in a cost-controlled way. We wanted to actually give it for free to our members so that we could address any inequity issues among our students and our staff and our faculty. And we also wanted to do it in a safe and secure manner. We did not want our members of our community to be tempted and go and try out these public tools out there and potentially expose not only their own personal data, but data of our institution to these chatbots that very often ingest everything and don't forget anything. They remember everything. So we wanted to integrate AI tools across, if you will, every facet of the university. And you can think of it as a corporation. So yes, of course, we wanted to transform business operation, integrate AI innovation in them. But our mission is much more complex than that of a corporation because we have students that we need to teach and faculty that need to teach, right? And so what we did is we partnered with Microsoft. Microsoft has been a very good partner. They did the heavy lift from the budget perspective. So it was a huge investment from Microsoft. And through a third-party provider, CloudForce, we built a platform, the Nebula One academic platform, which we renamed to make it Mason. We called it Patriot AI because we are George Mason University Patriots. And the platform basically sits on top of 1,800 different large language models and vision models and multimodal models now, and even including reasoning models. And it allows us here at the university to pick and choose from these models to build AI agents that allow the members of our community to not only do their work more efficiently, but do it better, reimagine it, and even innovate, but do it safely and securely. I will show you, we launched this in March, and I will show you what it looks like. So anybody with a Mason, Hans, for instance, can go and access it right now. Anybody with a Mason account can go to this platform, patriotai.gmu.edu. And we debuted it in March with 6 initial AI agents. Don't know if you can see them. The font is a little bit small, but I'll read them out to you. CourseMate, DocuMate, NourishNet, Patriot Chat, Patriot Pal, and Celebrite. And each one of these agents, they very much, if you click on them, you get sort of that experience with ChatGPT or Claude, whatever your favorite chatbot is. But they are specialized to handle very specific tasks, with the exception of Patriot Chat, which is a generic chatbot, but customized to give you information about George Mason University. And so you can ask here about anything. Students, faculty, and staff may make use of it to find, for instance, simple questions. Where is this office? When is registration deadline? And so on. We have some very unique agents. In case you're wondering how did we design them, I would say in a shared manner. So in the task force, we discussed what would be the needs of our community. We also did anonymous surveys of our students and our community on what is it that they were using other chatbots for, and where were they finding value and what was missing. And we did also small focus groups, and I curated all that information and I turned that into agent specs. I'm an AI researcher, so I could do that. And then I took those agent specs and I communicated them and built these agents with CloudForce. They were the folks behind the scenes, if you will. So one of them is very unique to our campus, and that's NourishNet. Now, NourishNet, as the word indicates there, nourish, it is supposed to help students to find nourishment. We have a significant percentage of students, not just at George Mason University, but at public universities, and some statistics that I have read at other universities go up to 20% of students that are food insecure. So our students at public universities that come from really varied socioeconomic backgrounds, some of them are first-generation students, and so typically at the end of the month, they may have a bit of a hard time making ends meet. They may have a bit of a hard time finding ways to nourish themselves. So this agent pulls resources not just from everything that we have here at Mason, such as the Patriot Pantry, but also from the local community, community organizations, churches, any other organization that provides such resources to food insecure individuals. And of course, you can go and you can try on different websites where you can get some help, but this is a one sort of stop shop. It's an interface that allows you to not only find where you can, help make ends meet, but also how you can qualify for some of these programs. For instance, here at Mason, we have a SAC Meal Swipe program. So you see here the response of the bot when I asked, where can I find healthy food resources on campus? And I try to channel my best sort of stress cells. I'm particularly stressed with finals coming up. And so this is, I would say it's a very unique chatbot that is an example, I would call, of a supportive bot, an AI for good example, because we're helping our students to find the resources that they need. And it's a very popular bot, actually with faculty too. Our faculty are the ones that typically tell us, hey, our students are having issues. Another bot thinks about faculty. How can we help faculty become better instructors? How can we reduce friction points, make it easier for them to design a new course? I myself have designed a new course and I'm teaching it. I'm piloting it this fall. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. AI for All. And so in this one, for instance, I pretended not to know how to put together my syllabus. Very often when you teach a new course, you have to start with a blank canvas. So with this chatbot, Syllabrite, you can put together, it can help you plan out courses. So I asked what could be a syllabus. I kind of have an idea of the overall topics or themes, but suggest to me topics, reading materials, in-class exercises, assessments, homeworks, exams, finals projects, and it breaks it down to me week by week. The font is a little bit small to see, but it's a very detailed, thorough response that will help our faculty not only design new courses, but potentially revamp courses, right? We have an issue sometimes that we've taught the same course for 5 years. We never have the time to go and revamp it. This makes it much easier to always be current, to give current materials, to provide, as in a sense, curricular relevance to our students. Another one thinks of our students, CourseMate. It is not an AI tutor. It's very difficult to build an AI tutor independent of all the hype, the stuff that you read out there. But this one simply helps students to better understand, better engage with the material in a course. Think about after hours. Think about, well, something I didn't get in class because my attention span is not 30 minutes. I find myself these days. So in this one, you can ask, the instructor can upload their materials, but the bot also has a functionality that it can go outside, and so it can also look up resources outside. And you can ask, for instance, hey, my professor may quiz us on this particular paper or on these particular chapters. Help me to prep, generate a potential quiz, and then for each question, show me the answers. You can ask, how did you get the answer for this? Or I didn't understand this concept. Where is this in the materials? Can you break it down? Can you write it for me as if for an 8th grader? Now write it for me, explain it to me now as if I'm a sophomore in college. So it really gives you that flexibility to understand the concept from different points of view, and in a sense augments what the instructor can do in the classroom or in the limited office hours. And these are some examples of quizzes in this particular case, or answers to, here's what a concept, what this particular concept means. So we anticipate that the impact just of this functionality and this initiative, Integrate AI, across the university will be rather large, because we will be able to support our staff that probably do a lot of repetitive tasks, such as, say, managing IT help desk tickets, right? Or staff that do course scheduling. It will help our students personalize their learning and help with engagement, enhancing support services so our students can find the support that they need. It will help our instructors. It will really, we think, unlock productivity, and it will take us to the next step of what it means, what is instruction, what is learning, what are university operation, how do we do research and discovery in this new era of AI. And so it's not just, the task is quite challenging. It's not that you can just put together a platform until people go now there and play with it, right? So we have a very detailed plan of communicating it and training all the different constituents on how to get the best behavior out of these DOPs, so that we can drive adoption, and then from that hopefully even get innovation. What we really hope is that members of our community will become savvy enough that they will realize that, okay, these 6 bots are great, but they're not enough. Here I have an interesting use case, and it might come from the finance office, or it might come from the advancement office, the one that maybe engages alumni. They can come up with ideas, and they can help us ideate new agents, and so support and integrate AI automation, if you will, or AI augmentation in every aspect of the university. And in this way, we're hoping that we're going to build an AI innovation ecosystem that has this foundational technology, right? These large language models, the data, the app platform sits on security and governance, but it's really, it takes off by core technology enablers, right? And what we want is to turn every member of our community into a core technology enabler and innovator. Then the other thing that I'm very proud of George Mason University, and by the way, I should say that that platform, Patriot AI, is the very first one in Virginia. There is no other public university or private university in Virginia that has something like that. There are, I can number them in one hand, the number of universities in the US that have something like that, but I believe that ours, the way it was designed with requests from members of the community, so it speaks to them. There's a reason for every functionality in there. The other one that is also a first for Virginia, and I would say a first for every nation, for every private and public university in the nation, is the articulation of how you should engage with AI. As we all know, there are concerns, right? It's a really fast-moving ground. So what we have done is we have also articulated in the task force principles on the responsible use of AI at George Mason University. And we have customized them for faculty and instructors, for students, for researchers, and for staff. So not only we're the first university in Virginia to articulate principles, but I said we're the first in the nation because we have very thoughtful instantiations of these for faculty and instructors, and then for students, for all the stakeholders, the different types of stakeholders that you can have at the university. I just wanted to get you a glimpse, but you can check them out for yourself, gmu.edu/AI, or you can just type ai.gmu.edu and it sends you here. And you can here find both the overall guiding principles and guidelines that speak to every member, but you can also find, hey, I'm a student, what does this mean for me? What should I be doing and what is not so advisable to do? The overall guidelines that we have, they stand on pillars, on these guiding principles that we identified are core and critical for a public university. And I dare say even for a corporation. Human oversight, which basically says you are responsible for the output. If you want to integrate this, you can't just take what you obtain from these bots. You have to check it. You have to check it for accuracy. You have to be in this process. You can't take yourself out of this process. Transparency. You have to be transparent if you use something, whether it's to craft an email or to craft a syllabus. You have to tell people that you used it, and also preferably with some specificity. What exactly did you use and when did you use it? And again, here we're thinking both in terms of building trust in the community, but also thinking very critically about a technology that moves. Even in the legal landscape, this will allow us to understand that we are compliant with our understanding of the law as it was at a certain time. Critical thinking, this is important for a public university, but again, here we're thinking ahead of time. We want members of our community to be very sensitive to the fact that they cannot cognitively offload to these AI tools. They should always be, again, not only have human oversight, but they should be the ones to drive the process. And then the others regard data privacy, compliance, data security, which are not unique to AI. We have several examples of these for our computing, how to engage with computational resources on campus, but they take a little bit of a different flavor just because of the way that these chatbots operate. Accuracy, which means you always have to check the accuracy, and accessibility, which means that if, for instance, as an instructor, you're going to make something available to your classroom, you have to think about whether every member of your community has a fair chance or has the same access to these resources. And then there are some no's with examples of you can't do it, you cannot use it for creating viruses or phishing or scam campaigns, or to discriminate or to bully members of the community, to harass them. You can't use them to surveil folks, and you can't use them to engage in unethical research practices. So we're very thoughtful and detailed in these, and there are versions of these, as I said, that speak to students, speak to instructors, speak to researchers, and speak to staff, because every one of these 4 groups look a little bit different. They engage, their everyday looks a little bit different. So I want to get to the second initiative, Inspire with AI, which speaks to our mission to advance higher education. We want to make sure that we build curricular relevance, and we want to make sure that if really our mission is to harness the power of artificial intelligence, that we equip members of our community with the skills to do so. so that we innovate learning and instruction, that we equip all students, not just engineering or computing students, but we equip all students with the AI skills that industry is already demanding that they have, no matter in what sector of the economy they will end up. We want to make sure that the students have that, because we want them to be competitive in the economy, right, and be members, thriving members of the society. So I'll tell you a little bit about how we've thought, and I think this is also very unique and a first for a public university. We think of Inspire with AI as a scaffolded approach. We have sort of 3 layers that answer the question of what core competencies are we giving. The first layer is the most general one that we call AI literacy essentials. We have taken up a mission in partnership with Microsoft to educate and to train not just students, but staff and faculty through our learning platform that we have here at the university, through which we typically teach every member, for instance, how to engage in safe practices. Cybersecurity training, for instance, is something that we take every year here at Mason. Every single member of our community does. So through that same platform, we want every member of our community to be AI literate. And we've thought about what this means. Let me show you. Here is a very piloted version. We launched it on April, and now we're growing and customizing it for different stakeholders. But we launched something very quick in our LinkedIn learning platform, Fundamentals of AI. And as you imagine, we have to start from scratch. What is AI? What is generative AI? What is a responsible framework? And then all the way to how can you prompt? What are good prompts? And even deeper. And we've piloted it first with the AI visioning task force. Members of our task force took it and gave us feedback on what was missing. And then with very specific student groups, women in tech and our graduate student group and women of color in STEM, with very specific groups of students, so that we could see whether we were going in the right direction, and then what would be the next steps. And we're about to launch in 2 weeks a much more ambitious framework, if you will, that has path-specific needs. So for students, it says, okay, this is the basic, the fundamentals. Now, do you actually want to learn something a little bit more? And if you're an engineering student, you have the option to learn the nuts and the bolts, say, of something. So it's fine-tuned to specific members. And we're going to start in August. You see, I told you that we've just piloted with small groups, but in August we start mass communication to let every member of our community not just know where they can find these resources, but also we're going to organize very specific meetings where we will pilot, debut them, so that folks know how to engage with these materials. The second part in the scaffold, I'm going back to this slide, is now we're thinking in terms of courses. So now here we're thinking students. And our goal is to create very unique, high impact, high value courses that teach AI literacy to every student independent of their background. So again, I'm not thinking engineering or computing students, I'm thinking humanities, I'm thinking education, business, public health, law, policy, wherever our students are. There's already a course in the books that has been taught since 2025 as part of the ethics and AI undergraduate minor, which is the only one in Virginia. There is a foundations of ethics of AI course that already our undergraduate students can take with no prerequisite, no demands made on their background. And there's a new one that I am teaching in this fall, that I'm launching this fall, University 182. It's now a Mason Core course too, so our students can take it for credit. It counts as a Mason Core course. Mason Core is sort of our version of general education requirement. So we're making an AI course be a general education requirement. It's an AI for all course, and the idea here in this course, I'm going to give you a sense of it, is not just an appreciation of AI, but because of the existence now of non-coding platforms, the students will learn by doing. So they will build things. Maybe their agents are not going to be the best, but by building things over non-coding platforms, they will be able to understand in a very practical context what is happening, what is not so good. They'll analyze, they'll apply, and it will be a very lively class with role-based debate. So we can debate the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I say, because the idea is to really make our students savvy to be able to address the ethical and societal implications of this technology. So no hype, only facts, as I say. And then the third part of the scaffold is now we're thinking a little bit deeper. Now we're thinking in the existing majors, in the existing undergraduate or graduate programs. How can we integrate AI, AI literacy? And then are there new programs that we need to create in order to create this innovative curricula, right? So that we can keep being innovators. If you look at Mason at this point, we're basically asking the question, how can we build a unique student experience so that students, it's a competitive market out there among universities, so we want students to have a ready answer to the question, what's unique about my experience at Mason? And we want that unique experience to be, there's no other place to go. If you really want to understand AI, no matter what your interests are, and to have a competitive advantage in the workforce, we want those students to say, Mason is where I want to go. We already have a rich infrastructure that we're building on. We have 100+ courses spread across the 10 colleges and schools around AI. And these programs tightly integrate research and education. Our goal is to really advance both core AI and interdisciplinary programs. And we made good on that promise. In spring, we were notified that our proposal for a new Masters of AI run in the College of Engineering and Computing was approved by our sort of main regulatory body here in Virginia, the State Council for Higher Education of Virginia. And it's operational in the fall. We actually are enrolling students right now. And it's a program that I was very much on top of and designed it very carefully. And it speaks to every student. It is open to every student that comes with a bachelor's degree in any quantitative discipline. So it can be finance, it can be math, it can be physics. As long as it is a quantitative discipline, students can pivot into a master's in AI. We also have new concentrations that are added to existing graduate programs. For instance, the College of Public Health launched an AI in Health. We have a lot more coming. So here, for instance, I'm showing to you the website that has information on what the Masters in AI entails. It has a core set of courses, and then it also has sort of multidisciplinary courses and tracks for students. Say, I'm a student that now I want to go more into the policy direction. I can do that with electives. I want to go more into AI for cloud because I imagine myself to be to have such needs in the workplace. You can go into that track. So it's a good course that stands of some rigorous foundations that will be classic and won't go away in this fast moving technology. And then the tracks are the ones that in a sense keep track, if I use the word again, of the rapid developments in the field. And a new program director, Dr. Vadim Sokolov, has taken over this program and is now enrolling students. We have a very big vision for Inspire AI. So we have made recommendations to the provost on how the university should move thoughtfully. We're expanding, as I showed you a little bit, in our AI literacy campaign. We anticipate that we will be in the innovation of curricula business year-round. And then in September, we're starting a governance progress because we're a big place. We have 10 colleges, right? It's a really complex organization, but we're making plans on how we can have a structured process and governance and make sure that we're not replicating curricula, but instead we're talking and we're collaborating across the colleges. We do a lot in research. So I'm coming to the end and I'm going to go a little bit faster here. And this is what you would expect because we have a lot of faculty, including myself, that advance core foundational AI research, but we also have a lot of faculty that integrate AI to advance their own disciplinary interests. So here I'm giving you 4 exemplars of high impact and AI-enabled projects. The one on the left is one that is utilizing the increasing sophistication of AI technologies to create ever more realistic, adapting mixed reality training programs to address sort of human AI teaming in various world contexts, real world contexts, whether that is to train firefighters or policemen or military. And it's a collaboration between the College of Engineering and the College of Education and Human Development. Here, second, this is a collaboration between College of Public Health and College of Engineering and Computing. And this is using very much chatbots, if you will, but bespoke chatbots to help patients with mental health challenges to have better outcomes, to find the right treatment first. Because if you have personal experience, or if you have loved ones, when you have a mental health challenge, it's very difficult to find the right treatment that works for you. Patients such as these, they waste a lot of time, a lot of years going through protocols, health protocols that don't work, they fail. And it also costs us a lot of money, but time as well, to find the one that speaks to you or that is specific for your needs. And so this is supposed to help that. It engages patients, it collects information about their medical history to find sort of the subgroup of patients that look more like you and that hopefully targets you better with the best treatment out there. The third one shows a collaboration between the College of Engineering and Computing and the College of Education and Human Development. So notice, folks, these are interdisciplinary projects. And this one aims to build a large language model that is specifically aimed at helping K-12 students foster mathematical skills, mathematical competencies. And so here you go into, okay, how can AI be used to help our kids? And this is where these researchers are going. And then on the right, this is a project from the College of Science that is utilizing vision technologies, vision AI technologies to not only document species, classify them, but basically to give us a sense of how rich a habitat is and to help with conservation efforts. And there is a very cool project that I learned about that I wasn't aware of a few months ago, that was initiated by my colleague Lincoln Mullen, who's the executive director of the Roy Rosenzweig Center for History and New Media. Lincoln has been working in collecting and documenting sort of religious bodies in the US. That is his research for a long time. And he was just telling me a few months ago, these chatbots are completely changing my life. He used to do maybe a few thousand a year. And he told me that just building on top of a model such as Claude from Anthropic, now he can do that within our platform. He was able to digitize 232,000 forms from the 1926 census of religious bodies and build the most comprehensive data set possible for American religious history. So it's just an example of all the innovation at scale, if you will, that these new AI technologies are allowing our faculty to unlock for advancing discovery. And everything that we do speaks to how we see ourselves, that we want to impact our communities and the nation. We want to engage them. We want to build partnerships and strategic partnerships. So our Fuse building, I was just there yesterday. It's a beautiful building. If you are in this area, we have a new building in Arlington, and it is a hub of high AI research activity. There are robotics labs, there are data visualization, AR, VR, health. It's an amazing building that will really catalyze AI research and education at Mason. We also have sit in a very unique position here at Mason. We have been tasked by SHEV, that's State Council for Higher Education in Virginia, to advance the mission in Virginia. How should we advance AI education across the K-12 community colleges and institutes of higher education? And we jump-started that just this May 20 and May 21st. We organized an AI in Education summit for the entire Virginia, where we brought together 150 to 180 instructors from K-12, from community colleges and institutes of higher education, all the publics in Virginia, the junior college in Virginia, administrators, leaders, legislative leaders, the Secretary of Labor, assembly people and so on, and we thoughtfully sort of engaged in topics, and now we're compiling a reference guide that will be made available to all our institutes of higher education of K-12 and community colleges in Virginia. We have built centers so that we can be a trusted partner for industry and government. For instance, we just launched a center in CC for infrastructure security in the era of AI. I run a council, an AI-in-Gov Council, that the motto is less talking, more doing. So we bring industry and we bring government, CIOs and CXOs, and we think through what kind of problems does the government want the public sector tech providers to solve, and let's prototype them and de-risk them in the lab with our students and with our faculty. We have just launched a project with the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry that does just that, takes problems of importance to DOLE in Virginia and prototype solutions by our faculty and by our students. And I just announced a couple of weeks ago our inaugural AI in Government faculty fellows that are really core, critical to us advancing this mission of being a public trusted partner of government and industry. And I'm going to stop here in the interest of time. Let me do an escape so I can see your beautiful faces and take any questions.
Wow, amazing. Very extremely impressive. Fantastic.
Yes, indeed.
So now,
Yes, indeed.
wow, this is the future. We have to get everybody in line here. So,
No, it's amazing.
all right,
It's
folks.
amazing.
All right, folks. Let's see if we can get some questions here. Okay. One very basic question has come from Devaraj from India. In the classroom, how do you use AI and more effectively in the classroom directly? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that is actually a really good question to answer. And the answer can look differently depending on the college and the program. We do have faculty and students that are actually, and this is something I wanted to speak to, that are not as let's say welcoming of these AI technologies. Think about the students in arts, right? They create, they are in the creative industries. We have a college here, the College of Visual and Performing Arts. I've met with the students there and the faculty, and while in principle they understand that they want to be aware and they want to participate in some form, they are very worried about their ownership of their creative works, so they are not as ready to integrate AI in the classroom. And so what we did in our guidelines, when we wrote about them specifically for instructors, we said you have the right to say no. At least at this point in time, when we're moving, you know, as human beings, we need to better understand what are all the consequences. So we are not forcing our faculty to integrate AI in the classroom. Let me be very clear about that. We are offering to faculty that should you choose to do so, should you perceive that this is something you want to do, here are the resources to do so. We have workshops that we run in our Stern Center for Learning and Instruction, where they teach faculty not just on AI, but on any new technology. For instance, now we're switching to Canvas from Blackboard. And even I am going to attend some of those workshops because I'm a little bit lost how to transfer all my materials. So they run workshops that teach, they're kind of like tutorials, if you will, that teach faculty how do you integrate, say, AI in a classroom, what makes sense for you, what might you want to do now as opposed to later, what you may be comfortable with. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, that you can build these things, you can put them on websites, but you actually have to train people so that they can perceive, are they capable? Do they see an added value to that? But yeah, the answer looks different. And we're starting this year, we're going to have many different sort of small targeted training sessions as opposed to kind of big fanfare training sessions, so that our faculty not only can make the determination thoughtfully and in an informed way whether they want to integrate these in the classroom or not, but also get training on exactly how to do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go to Sirin and then Shilpa. Sirin, you can unmute yourself.
Thanks, Krishna.
Amarda, that was dynamite. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of my alma mater. Go Patriots. That's one thing. The second, you've been at NSF, and what in your current capacity would you want in a perfect world for the National Science Foundation or a funding agency in general to do? What kind of role would you like us to have in the realm of what you're doing?
Right. So first, I'm going to state it's not a conflict of interest, but I need to state it up front that my husband is still at NSF and he's a permanent program director there. But anything that I'll tell you has not been discussed with my husband. So let me just state that up front. I think, especially as I look at the administration and their the signals that they're putting out that they want the workforce to be more AI literate. They want to support AI education. I think that's a very nice opportunity for the NSF to provide some, whether it's seed funding, but to provide some incentive to universities to explore the space. Right now, we don't quite know what is the right mode or the right mechanism. We don't even know, if you ask different people what are the core AI skills that our students should have, you're going to get different answers, right? Because we're entering in this new stage. But what NSF always does best is that they sort of let 1,000 flowers flourish, right? So that they can see the diversity of ideas and mechanisms out there. And then they incentivize us to track, to be honest and accountable to ourselves, right? We devise metrics and we track, we look at our graduates, and then we come up with best practices. Right now, there are no best practices. So what I really think a body, an organizing body such as NSF, what the optimal role would be you can incentivize different mechanisms. When I was at NSF, I revised the data science core program, which asked universities to come up, what are the mechanisms to teach data science to every student? Tell us. So in a very similar way, NSF can organize these programs, and in the end, we can take lessons learned, compare notes, and figure out this is the right way to do it and to do it at scale. There are also many other opportunities to incentivize AI research. That is something that NSF has done and hopefully will continue to do.
Thank you so much, Amarda, and good questions, Sareen. We have a hand up from Silpa, and then we have a chat question that I'll read out. But first, Silpa, come in. Unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good to speak to you and listen to you. Also, very happy to see you again.
Good to.
Hello.
I want to say good to see you, but I don't see you.
Hello. Yeah. I didn't get the signal back. Sorry, it was a technical glitch. Hello, ma'am. I just have one question. You have got many AI tools around. Like, I'm perplexed to choose which one would be the best one. Like, if you take up for presentation, it may be Present AI, or it may be Canvas, it may be Gamma. Like, you have so many tools for each of the cause. How to choose the better one? Like, when I'm trying to integrate, I'm getting perplexed to choose the best tool. Can you please suggest?
Yes, right now, while it may look that we have many tools, we actually our members are telling us we don't have enough. We have only one really for staff, and that is only one agent, Documate, that only helps them to summarize documents, to get briefing points, or to, curate information from a document, the usual administrative things that you do on a day-to-day basis, but there's only one. For students, we only have one that helps them with courses, and then the others are more to find food, right, or to find general information about where registration is. For faculty, we really only have one that's a syllabrite specifically for courses. But you do hint at an important point that as we add more tools, it will be difficult for a member of our community to find, I have a very specific need, which one is the one I should engage with? So we have thought about answering it in two ways. One is the year-round training that will tell our faculty, here are the core functionalities that we have, or students or staff. Here is what each one of these does. The second one is we're now building what we call a meta agent, where you go to this and the meta agent basically will have a big question mark, like, where do I start? And you say, I kind of want to do this. And the meta agent will tell you, oh, this agent does so. And if you didn't attend any of the trainings, here's a very simple, a few very little information on a manual. And if none of the agents do that, then the meta agent will say, that's a great idea for a new agent. Can you fill this form? And this form goes up to a committee of IT administrators, and I oversee that committee with the Chief Information Officer, where we see whether it is a relevant and high impact use case to potentially build a new agent. So multiple ways to help our members figure out which one is kind of the best for the buck, although they're not paying anything, and even figure out whether there is something that we haven't covered yet.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. We have another question
Thank
from
you so
Preeti.
much.
The next
You're
question is
welcome.
from a chat box. What has been your experience in using AI agents for managing administrative workload, for faculty, deans, HODs, etc.? What has been your experience in that area?
Yeah,
Workload.
that's a huge task, as especially in public universities. We have so many compliance sort of things that we need to satisfy, and it feels that there's just more and more and more paperwork. So we're definitely trying to improve that, to remove some of the core but tedious tasks from our staff. I would say that we have only started to scratch the surface there. And one of the reasons for that is one office looks a little bit different from another office. So we're trying to figure out what is that bottom line, what is the common shared need that our maybe a subset of our offices have. Already I know, for instance, the administrative assistants in my office and in the dean's office, I meet with them and I tell them, oh, here's how you should use Documate. Here is how I was able to do this fast. Let me show you how I turned this needs assessment into specific recommendations, which is what we do sometimes on a daily basis. So already they're starting to see a lot of value. But every office has very different sort of layers of compliance regulations. Their work looks very specific. So that's definitely, we have just scratched the surface. That is definitely the next stage. And that's why I hinted earlier, it may look like we have a lot of agents, but we don't, because we do need to speak to specific offices and their needs.
Okay. The next question, couple of questions in the chat box have to do with assessment and evaluation of students' work. So how would you use, can you comment on that? How do you use AI, faculty, how do you use AI for assessment and evaluation of student assignments and projects and so on?
So at this moment, we instruct our faculty not to do that. And it is an area, I would say it's a thorny area. We did have an opportunity. It's not difficult to put together something that helps our faculty to evaluate. We can help faculty with generating a rubric, but not ingesting student homeworks and testing student homeworks against that rubric to assess and to evaluate students. That was an interesting case when industry came and said, why not? Microsoft and CloudForce came and said to me, why not? Many others are doing it. We went to the task force and our faculty and our students and our staff said, no, at least not now, because it goes against the human oversight, because there is a temptation that when you are teaching a large course to completely outsource that very important not only cognitive task, but that very important, it's a core part of your relationship with a student, right? Because when you evaluate a student, you're telling to the student, I see you. I see, right, the mind, I see your brain. I have now a personal relationship with you. And when you remove that, then what is the value of you as a teacher? So I also personally find that problematic. Maybe in 10 years, we won't find that problematic. I don't know. I cannot speak to that. But right now, we made a conscious decision, no.
Okay, good. Very excellent comment there, Amartu. I like the comment where you say, I see the student. That's the personal relationship between a faculty and a student. That's a good point. Another comment question here is, how does your program assist faculty to incorporate AI into their curriculum? Because it can be overwhelming.
Yes, so give me just a second. I'm working from home today, so I'm telling my kid, not now. In 5 minutes. Somebody's knocking at the door. Yes, I'll be up in 5 minutes. So yes, it can be overwhelming. We just finished, not today, tomorrow will be our third session of a boot camp. We ran a boot camp it started in May. It was facilitated by Microsoft, and in that boot camp, we have very sort of slowly, gradually materials that both teach faculty, and here again, I'm not thinking engineering and computing faculty, right? I'm thinking other faculty from other disciplines that teach faculty both what is AI and also tells them, if you want to incorporate it in a course, here are some ideas, here are some examples. These materials exist out there, but they're not made publicly available because apparently, I guess you have to pay for them. So because of our partnership with Microsoft, we are able to offer these boot camps. And again, we just piloted them in the summer to see, how our faculty feel about it. Do they find value from it? But this will be something that we have to do year long and every year, because every year our community changes, right? Faculty move, students move. So our work will never be done in this one, but at least we're trying to make sure that we have the right the right venues, not only materials, but examples, use cases, a specific sort of, here is how you can incorporate it into the syllabus. Your project is about, at the faculty, for instance, I said, well, I want students to find like what salamander would survive in this environment, and it's part of my ecology course. And then he realized, and after this bootcamp, I realized that I can have them engage with one of these bots. They can find the answers themselves. And in the meantime, not only they're learning about, ecology, my course, but they're also learning a little bit about, here is how you can utilize these tools to enhance your learning, if you will. So yeah, the answers can look very different, but we're just trying to make sure that we train faculty year-round on this.
Okay, fantastic. I think we run out of chat and questions, and before we hand it over to Hans, I just want to make sure a couple of our participants would like the recordings. What is the way that they will get it, Jesse? How do they get the recording? Do they go into your website? We have a recording. We'll be sending it to IFEES GEDC. So where do they find it? On the website?
Yes, we'll work together on this. Absolutely.
Okay, well, go ahead, Hans. Yeah, yours.
No, but are there any other questions? I'm very
we're done.
pleased to see our GDC leader, Dr. Divya Nalla. Can you hear us? I see her. She's a member of the GDC Executive Committee. Are you with? I'm really pleased to see you, Divya. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I really appreciate you joining us. Do you have any comments, dear Divya?
No, there are no comments, and this recording has to be made available to everyone to listen to, because that's such an interesting session.
Yeah, thank you, Divya. I'm Amanda. What a genuine pleasure to meet you like this. We are part of the same community. We've not met, so I'm really looking forward. It's very interesting. I just came from Montreal for the ASCE meeting, and we had a session. I usually host the IFEES GDC community, and I have a good relationship with the UMBC AI specialist. You probably know Dr. Armando per se, and I'll be following up with him and working with him. Again, it's another a member of our global community that would be he would be very, very happy to meet you, by the way, and the incredibly creative work. And one of the things that has really impressed me also is, as learning, I'm a social scientist. I'm not an engineer. I'm a social scientist, and to see the work, the creative work that our engineering, the Volganau community where I am, is doing with the other disciplines at George Mason. Again, that's a longer conversation and all that. Let me just define my comments here. I just returned just a few weeks ago from South Korea. We will be hosting, I'm co-chair there, working with a very serious university of DGEST in Daegu in the southern part of South Korea. Also, George Mason has a campus in South Korea per se, and I'm working to connect our community there. But most important, Amanda, I want to follow up with you per se, and identify some opportunity possibly, because we will have several George Mason colleagues. And also, by the way, since we have many good colleagues and friends from India here, particularly today, I'm in contact with several and quite a number of both professors, even some deans, and also students from India will be joining us in South Korea this September 21st to 25th. I just wanted to plant that seed. I'd like to follow up with you, Amanda, and anybody else about this conference. And certainly the topic of AI is an important one. And given your brilliant history in that and the work you're doing, I'd like to find a win-win way to engage you, and of course invite all of our other colleagues and friends that are joining us today. And Krishna, wonderful to see you. This was an amazing, and we will share this video. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you kindly.
Okay, folks, thank you. It's time to say goodbye. And everybody have a good day, good morning, good evening, whatever time of the day you're at, and peace be with all of you. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Amanda.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Mark.
Bye.